What is the single biggest wealth destroying mistake that they are making today?
No, I think investors have been smart.
Yeah.
The SIPs have continued, and though the returns could have gone up and down, I think they are making a decent returns. So I would say that not too many of them are making too big mistakes. But obviously, there is always a lure to make large sums of money and very quickly. I think that is the biggest mistake, because to make large sums of money
Yeah.
very quickly, you have to indulge in leverage, and you have to indulge in option trading and some of those, or momentum, and that really comes to bite. So in a challenging environment like what we are going through, mistakes are unaffordable.
Mistakes are unaffordable. You manage around 40,000 crores, but say you were a 35-year-old investor with a corpus of 1 to 5 lakh rupees. Where would you advise them to park their money right now? Are you advising them lump sum, SIP, direct stocks, MFs?
So I'm still 35, so I can.
You look it.
So, see, I would say that SIP gives peace of mind.
Yeah.
But if you have this sum of money to invest, I would definitely advise a lump sum. Because our view is that the downside at this point of time is limited. The upside, if Iran were to be sorted, can be pretty quick. And in an environment where over the next 3-4 years, we are looking at like low to mid-teen kind of returns, no investor can miss out on this 10-15% move, because then the return overall after this move can be pretty low. So if you have lump sum to invest, you should invest lump sum. But
Now
SIP is an
itself?
evergreen thing. I think every time is a good time, and we have already seen a correction in the month of May. Result season is almost done. Results have been pretty good. As I said, the only caveat is this Iran thing has to be sorted, because we can't afford oil at $120, $130 for sure.
Everyone talks about asset allocation. What is your advice apart from equities? Which other asset classes and how much?
So for a 35-year-old, obviously a big chunk has to go into equity, because equity is a growing asset. See, you can have some money in fixed income, but the return there are like 7% pre-tax, and based on your tax slab, maybe 5.5% post-tax. Gold and silver are non-growing assets. You don't get dividend, you don't get interest. So if you buy 100 grams of gold today, after 20 years, it is going to be 100 grams only. And now we have already seen a very sharp move up. So from here on, I don't see them moving like the way they moved in the last 1 year. So it can be a small allocation. For a small investor, investing overseas is difficult. But over a period of time, I think Indian investors will have to start to look at overseas investment also. Real estate is a complete no from an investment perspective at this point of time.
There's this growing narrative all said and done, Sunil, that India globally, the global people are viewing us as uninvestable due to the currency, the fact that we have seen valuations looking expensive. Is that disappointment or is that criticism fair?
So, investors are investors, and there is always a recency bias. What has happened over the last 1-2 years, we believe that it's going to continue for a long time. So just go into the past. In 2024, which were the most hated countries? Korea, China. China had given zero return over the last 10 years. So 2014 to 24, China had given zero return, 10 years. Japan gave zero return for 30 years. Korea, no one even wanted to touch with a barge pole. Taiwan, they were worried that what would happen if China were to, take it over or whatever, And now see, last 1.5 years, those are the countries which have done well.
Yeah.
So sometimes the view is based on what we have undergone over the very, very recent past. And therefore, I would give the benefit of doubt. Yes, India is right now out of favor. But all it will need is 3-4 months of stable performance. And currency, again, becoming more like, 93, 94 and staying there. I think that is what will bring foreigners back. But at 12% weightage in emerging country index, and foreign holding in India at a 10-15-year low, and India being maybe the only large economy which can become $8 trillion over the next 8-9 years, I think there is a big risk for any global investors to be ignoring India.
So why are they ignoring us right now? The
As I said, it's recency
just
bias.
The recency. Okay. Yeah. Do you think that deeper structural reforms are needed in India to change things around?
So India has done quite a bit, and to be fair, for various governments over the last couple of decades, India has been very open with foreigners. Yes, sometimes a small tweaking of taxation becomes a little bit of irritant, and I think that is where the government has already started to maybe work on it. We already saw some announcements on the bond side in terms of capital gains. Wherever there is need, I think they are very receptive, and we will see that. From a foreign investor's perspective, it's not only stability, but stability of currency
Yeah.
also, which makes a big difference. So I think if Iran were to sort out, then currency will also sort out. And I'm very sure that India will do well then.
Yeah, you've really brought this up a lot, and I'm sure it's on all investors' mind. When will this conflict be over and behind us? What about your personal journey, Sunil? Because you entered the markets at the IPO boom era in the early 1990s. What did you learn about the markets? Can you tell us more about your personal journey?
I think it's been very eventful but very satisfying. And what we are seeing right now in terms of market behaving the way we have seen worst. In the past. But the thing is that if the economy continues to grow, then money will be made. So I think in my journey over the last 30 years, I think that is what has come out. Be positive because the country has grown. So even if you see the last 30 years, funds have become 300, 400 times. Wealth has become 300, 400 times for those who have stayed positive. During Lehman in 2008, index fell by 60%.
So what did that teach you?
So that teaches that, you have to bother about things which are in your hand.
Yeah.
Sometimes things are not in your hand and you have to take it in your stride and be patient.
What you can control.
Yeah, because ultimately, as I said, if the economy is going to grow, there will be a bounce back. And I think that is what has happened. That happened during COVID time and that has happened so many other times. The only thing I would say is that creating wealth is a journey. You can't create too much wealth very fast. Yeah. If you try to do that, then you will make mistakes. So I think keep the basics right. Our tagline is believe in the basics. And that is what we try to do. Be positive. And as I said, be very clear that wealth will be made over a period of time, but it will surely be made. And I think that is what we have to do. Mistakes, we will keep on making. The only thing is don't repeat the mistakes.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.